Well, just think, the sun is shining. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, ma'am. Very good. So I'm so pleased that you're all here. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for being here. This is a very important moment. Today we're witnessing something dangerous and unprecedented, and an all-out assault on the Federal Reserve, our nation's central bank, led by Donald Trump and his administration. Since his return to the White House, Trump and his cronies in the administration have relentlessly sought to control the Fed using insults, threats, intimidation, and weaponizing government against hardworking public servants. Like Governor Lisa Crook. Let me just say that again. Governor Lisa Crook. Well, I want you to know he has tried to unconstitutionally fire her. Last week, their efforts escalated, and when Trump's Department of Justice initiated a baseless criminal investigation of Chair Jerome Powell. Make no mistake, this is about power and control. Donald Trump wants to control the Federal Reserve so that he can manipulate interest rates, interfere with markets, and use our independent government agencies to advance his own agenda. He wants the central bank that answers only to him. He believes he wants that. He wants the central bank to not be independent, to only answer to him. And he not only does that, he does not want to follow the laws. And he wants to just not have to deal with serving the public's interest. I hope that the Supreme Court considers the facts and arguments in today's hearings and sends a clear message to Trump that this country is governed by laws, not by one man's fragile ego. The Fed does not belong to Donald Trump. It belongs to the American people. We're here today to stand with highly qualified Federal Reserve Governor Dr. Lisa Cook, who is the first black woman to serve on the Board of Governors, who has been unfairly targeted for her public service. No one should be surprised. This is classic Trump, to go after yet another black woman who refuses to bow to him. But we're also here to defend the integrity and the independence of our central bank. One of the very reasons the United States has remained strong because of the central bank. One of the very reasons the United States has not only remained strong and stable, but resilient through economic crisis, and why the United States economy has been the envy of the world for so long. We're here to push back against a wannabe authoritarian regime so we can preserve and maintain our democracy. We will not just hand over our central bank and our future prosperity to this tyrannical administration. We won't do it without a fight. When you undermine the Federal Reserve's independence, you hurt families trying to save for their first home. You hurt small businesses trying to grow and workers trying to get ahead, and communities already struggling to make ends meet. That's why we are pushing back. We have to push back, and that is why we will continue to fight loudly and unapologetically on the ground, through the halls of Congress, and in the courts to protect the independence of the Federal Reserve and the economic future of the economy. Thank you. And we have the members of our committee, the Financial Services Committee, who are here today to stand with Lisa Cook, and you will begin to hear from them.
My name is Juan Vargas. I represent the 52nd Congressional District in California, and I'm also the ranking member on the Task Force on Monetary Policy. I want to begin by thanking our leader, Maxine Waters. Thank you for being so strong on this issue. Thank you for pushing back. Thank you. We're here today because Trump has launched an unprecedented attack on the independence of the Federal Reserve. Trump wants the Federal Reserve to bend the knee to him. He wants the Federal Reserve that does what's best for him, not what is best for our economy. And since that hasn't happened, Trump is out for revenge. He has taken the absolutely unprecedented step of trying to remove Federal Reserve Board Governor Dr. Lisa Cook. And his DOJ has threatened Chairman Jerome Powell with a criminal indictment. But let me be clear. This isn't just about the Federal Reserve. This is about Trump's quest for unchecked power and his continued weaponization of government. He wants total control, and he wants to punish anyone who stands in his way. That's what he's trying to do to Dr. Cook. But we're here today to stand against this overreach. We're here today to remind Trump that we won't be intimidated, that he's not a dictator, and we're not afraid. Now we're looking to the Supreme Court to do their job and to make it clear that Trump cannot seize control of the Fed. We are doing our job. They have to do their job. And they have to do it strongly and let Trump know that he is not a king, he is not a dictator. With that, again, I thank all of you for being here.
Next.
Good morning. Sean Kasten from Illinois. Look, we should not be here today. And we should not be here today for three reasons. Number one, Lisa Cook did nothing wrong. She never should have been charged, and the court case never should have gotten to the Supreme Court. Number two, the Fed is an independent agency. There is no reason to go after the Fed as an independent agency. The court should have thrown that out on its merits. Now, I'm cautiously optimistic that the Supreme Court understands both of those issues and will rule the right way. But there is a third bigger reason that we shouldn't be here today, which makes me more nervous. As we approach our 250th birthday as a country, we are blessed and fortunate to live in a country that has separation of powers, that has three co-equal branches. And over the course of our history, Congress has deemed in their wisdom that there are some agencies that should be independent of political pressure, not just the Federal Reserve, because the decisions those agencies make have to be separated from short-term politics. That's true for the Federal Reserve. It's true for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. It's true for the Consumer Financial Protection Board. It's true for the National Labor Relations Board. I could go on down the list. There has never been in our history any question about whether the Constitution affords Congress that power. There's never been any change in the law that changes that question. The only thing that has changed is the makeup of the Supreme Court. And we are here today because the Supreme Court no longer defends the separation of powers, no longer defends three co-equal branches. The Supreme Court has this idea that they've called the unitary executive. That sounds like a lot of fancy speak. That is code for we like kings. We believe that the executive should have the power to do whatever they want regardless of what the Congress says. That ain't what our founders gave us. And we got here today because the court said, we don't think these other agencies can be independent, but we want to provide a carve-out to the Fed, and we're only going to allow that carve-out, maybe if there's cause you can fire somebody. Donald Trump, for all his faults, understands that that logic doesn't parse. And so he has decided to challenge this court and say, are you going to defend your weak logic? Are you going to stand up to me? And it is reasonable for him to think he might be able to bully them into submission. But the Supreme Court, the Roberts Court, made today happen. And I am less optimistic that this court will put the Constitution above their own narrow politics. Just because they wear robes does not make them political actors. And I think we'll be watching very closely today to see whether the court, yes, rules in favor of Lisa Cook, but more significantly, does the court correct the mistakes they have made over the last year to give us something to be proud of prior to our 250th birthday? That's the stakes. Grateful to be here. Is Congresswoman Velasquez here? I do not see her yet, so I will turn over to my friend Al Green. from Texas. Thanks, Al.
Okay. All right.
It is my preeminent privilege to serve under the leadership of the Honorable Maxine Waters. I am honored to have this superlative pleasure to have the ranking membership on oversight and investigations of the subcommittee of the Financial Services Full Committee. As we stand here today in the shadow of the Supreme Court of the United States of America, a symbol of justice the world over, the question that we have to answer, and the court is going to have to answer, is this: will the Supreme Court continue to be the symbol of justice the world over, or will it allow Donald Trump, President of the United States, to take control now of the Fed? He already has control of the pusillanimous politicians who call themselves Republicans in the House of Representatives and the Senate. He already has control of persons who have influence. The question is, will he now get control of the Fed? The Fed is the body that has to have the independence to make policies that deal with the economic order. We want price stability. We want to make sure we have full employment. The Fed does that. Put that in the hands of Donald Trump, a reckless, ruthless, lawless president, and then we're going to find out whether we're going to become Turkey or whether we'll remain the United States of America. Because Turkey pursued the same path that Trump is pursuing, and they had inflation rates that were off the chain. We have an opportunity today to ask this Supreme Court to do the right thing. More important than the right thing, do the righteous thing, and make sure Donald Trump does not gain control of the Fed. Remain the symbol of justice the world over, Mr. Roberts. This is your opportunity. This is a seminal moment in time that can impact the rest of time, and in fact will impact democracy in the United States of America. We see what this president is doing. We must now take him on here at the Supreme Court, and I'm honored that the Honorable Maxine Waters has afforded us this opportunity to stand and fight. That's right. This is the resistance right here in front of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Democracy is at risk. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, and I serve as ranking member of the Subcommittee on National Security, Illicit Finance, and International Institutions. And I am honored to join our leader, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and my fellow Democrats in strong support of the Federal Reserve Board Governor, Dr. Lisa Cook, as oral arguments began in the Supreme Court. That is why we are standing here this morning. Governor Lisa Cook is someone I know. She is a longtime friend, and I can tell you she has served with honor, integrity, and distinction. In addition to that, she is the first black woman to sit on the federal board. So let us be clear, and you're going to hear that a lot this morning. Let us be clear, and let us not make a mistake that the real reason behind Donald Trump and this administration's illegal efforts to remove her and investigate Chair Jerome Powell, this is a brazen power grab to take control of our central bank and interest rate decisions. The United States economy, it's important for you to know this, relies on an independent Federal Reserve and economic decisions driven by data and evidence, and certainly not Trump's political pressure. So make no mistake, Trump's takeover of the Federal Reserve will negatively affect household finances, financial markets, and threaten Americans' retirement savings, mortgages, and housing costs. We will defend this independent Fed as a fundamental pillar of our economy, and we will fight for Governor Lisa Cook and Chairman Powell to serve out their terms. It is an honor to be here, and it gives me great pleasure to ask Congressman Sam Liccardo from California to join us.
Good morning. This morning, the attorneys will be arguing over Lisa Cook's due process rights under the Fifth Amendment. But for the American people, much more is at stake. The right of the entire public to the independent decision-making of professionals like Lisa Cook. That's what's at stake for this country, and indeed, given the implications of the decisions of the Federal Reserve on a global economy, that is what is at stake for our world. We need to ensure the independence of the Federal Reserve, and we need to stop this hostile takeover by this White House of every independent body, which must be empowered to make the best decisions for the American people. But if Donald Trump feels so strongly about mortgage fraud, I would encourage him to also fire his labor secretary, his transportation secretary, and his EPA administrator, all of whom have committed exactly the same conduct as Lisa Cook. May God have mercy on Donald Trump when this administration is finished, because the American people will not. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce a tremendous colleague from the great state of Oregon, Congresswoman Janelle Bynum.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Janelle Bynum, and I proudly represent Oregon's 5th Congressional District. We're standing here today because the Trump administration is playing political games with costs, retirement accounts, and the entire financial system. He's attacking the Federal Reserve, which keeps our economy stable, by trying to remove Dr. Lisa Cook from the Fed's board and by threatening criminal investigations into Jerome Powell, the Fed's chair. Now, I know Dr. Lisa Cook personally. She is a proud Spelman College woman. She's a woman of honor, a woman of integrity, a woman of professionalism, and I am here to stand up and say we will not allow her to be messed with. The Fed is mandated to be independent of the president, and that independence has meant that over the last year, the Fed has done what is best for the American people, which is not to cater to Donald Trump. But now the president is trying to use the Fed to play political games. And as we stand here, don't be mistaken. This isn't some partisan attack on Trump by Democrats. Global central bank chiefs and top Wall Street bank CEOs are supporting Chair Powell as well. Senior Republican senators on the Senate Banking Committee have also come out against this investigation. And even our chairman of the Financial Services Committee, Chair French Hill, said this creates an unnecessary distraction. Now, if the president can bully or threaten the Fed's chair or board, interest rates become a political tool. Inflation becomes a campaign strategy, and your mortgage, your job, and your savings become collateral damage. So make no mistake, this attempt to intimidate the Fed isn't about justice or the American people. It is clearly about the president's ego. I can't and I won't stand by and let that happen. I'll continue to fight to make sure the Fed works for Oregonians, for Americans, and not for President Trump. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Skye Perryman, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Democracy Forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you to Representative Waters for gathering us here today. My name is Skye Perryman. I'm the president and CEO of Democracy Forward. Our team of lawyers has filed hundreds of legal actions against this administration over the past year because of the administration's brazen attempt to govern on a collision course with the Constitution and to undermine the well-being of people and communities and their rights across the country. At Democracy Forward, we know that democracy is a kitchen table issue, and there is no other matter that could epitomize that as the one that the Supreme Court is hearing today. Congress created the independence of the Federal Reserve for a reason: to protect the American people, to make life stable and livable for people, to ensure that no one, not a king and not a president and not a band of corrupt allies, could disturb the stability of the markets in the United States. But that is entirely what this administration is doing, and that is why we at Democracy Forward, along with so many other lawyers across the country, are pleased to be able to support Lisa Cook's challenge in this case. This is not just a power grab by the administration. It is also a way of targeting people and communities in this country, including black people and black women. We have seen this trend over the last year too much. At Democracy Forward, we are representing other independent board leads like Alvin Brown and Robert Primus and so many other people that the administration and that this president has targeted. He has targeted it in order to consolidate power, in order to make life harder for Americans so that they will give up the fight for democracy, so that they will give up defending their rights. But we know and we see here today, and especially with the support here at the court, that that will not happen. It will not happen in 2026, and we're calling on the court to uphold the Constitution, to uphold Congress's role, and to affirm the independence of the Federal Reserve. And we are calling on members of Congress who have not supported Governor Cook and who continue to engage in games with this president to have the courage in 2026, as we memorialize the 250th year after the Declaration of Independence, to stand strong with our country, with its people, and with our Constitution. With that, I now have the pleasure of introducing Deidre Asante Muhammad, who is the president of the Joint Center for Political and Economic Justice.
Yes. First, I'll say it's an honor to be here with such important elected officials. I am Deidre Asante Muhammad, president of the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies, America's Black think tank. For 55 years, the Joint Center has fought for black representation at every level of government, not as symbolism, but because representation shapes policy, power, and people's lives. We fought for the historic nomination of Dr. Lisa Cook to the Federal Reserve, and we are here today to fight the attempted unjust removal of Dr. Cook. Let us be clear what is happening. Dr. Lisa Cook is one of the most qualified economists ever to sit on the Federal Reserve Board. She is a world-class scholar, a proven public servant, a governor who has upheld the Fed's dual mandate of price stability and full employment for all Americans. Yet now she's being singled out, attacked, and targeted. Why? Because she brings lived experience into economic policy making, because she understands that inflation, unemployment, and financial stability do not fall evenly across communities, and because she is a black woman with power. This attack is not about ethics. It is not about performance. It is about rolling back hard-won progress and sending a message about who is allowed to govern in this country. We reject that message. We know this playbook. When black excellence enters elite institutions, the rules suddenly change. The scrutiny intensifies, the goalposts move, and legitimacy is questioned. But we are not backing down. The independence of the Federal Reserve matters, the integrity of public institutions matter, and black representation at the highest level of economic decision-making matters. We stand with Dr. Lisa Cook, and we will not allow political intimidation to erase decades of progress. The fight is bigger than one person. It is about who gets to shape America's economic future. And we are here to stay. We belong here, and we are not leaving. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you all so very much. You can see the strength of the support that Lisa Cook has because of her qualifications, because she has demonstrated that she can serve on that board of governors in the way that America expects her to serve. And so we stand here in hopes that the Supreme Court are listening to us today so that they will understand that they can easily allow her to stay on the job until the trial takes place. And she should not be asked to leave now. So if you have any questions, I and others here are pleased to answer them for you. Very good. If there are no questions, we are anxiously waiting to hear what the Supreme Court is due. And I want you to know that Powell has the respect of members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, and that he works well with the Board of Governors. And I want you to know that not only do you see members of our committee here, from both sides of the aisles, Republicans are quietly talking about their resistance to what is happening by Trump trying to get rid of Powell and his governors in order to take complete control. This is a brazen attempt to exercise power that we will not tolerate. So thank you all for being here today. Watch what goes on here very closely, because as it was mentioned earlier, this is whether or not the independence of our central bank will be maintained by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Thank you all so very much.
Stay warm.
Thank you all. Thank you.